Tonight, former Vice President and 2024 presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Bawumia, alleged purchase of 300 pickup trucks sparked corruption concerns as a citizen petitions the Office of the Special Prosecutor to probe the source of funds used for the vehicles and related political activities. We speak to Solomon Osu about this petition and get a response from Dr. Bawumia's camp. This is Top Story brought to you by Telecel Connecting Energies and also by Shield Pension Trust into the future with you. Now, a formal complaint has been lodged with Ghana's Office of the Special Prosecutor seeking an investigation into allegations of corruption, illicit enrichment, and breaches of political financing laws against former Vice President and 2024 MPP presidential candidate Dr. Bawumia. Dr. Bawumia reportedly boasted about personally purchasing over 300 pickup vehicles for the MPP, raising questions about the source and legitimacy of the funds. He is acclaimed to have said no one in the party's history has raised as much money as he has, sparking concerns about possible abuse of public office and conflict of interest. The complaint cited possible breaches of Ghana's Political Parties Act, Anti-Money Laundering Act, and the Constitution regarding disclosure, reporting, and anti-corruption obligations. Now, the petitioners are Solomon Osu and Andrew Apia Dankwa and Edwin Godwin Bachman, and they asked the special prosecutor to do a lot of things. My colleague Papani actually has been monitoring or going through that particular statement and joins me in studio with more. Papani, first, let's start with the grounds on which they're making this petition.
Well, just as you have said, this is really based on the alleged comment of former Vice President and former Flagbearer of the MPP, Dr. Bawumia, on his alleged buying of 300 pickup trucks. Now, the grounds here, they state categorically three. One, that the source of funds, the acquisition of over 300 pickup vehicles, suggests access to extraordinary financial resources that demand verification of their origin and legitimacy, and again, possible abuse of public office. And that they claim that as a former vice president, a politically exposed person, Dr. Bawumia's ability to raise such unprecedented sums gives rise to a reasonable suspicion of abuse of influence, conflict of interest, or diversion of public resources. And the final grounds the petitioners gave was the potential breach of political financing and anti-corruption laws that Ghana's legal framework imposes strict disclosure, reporting, and anti-corruption obligations on public officers and political parties, and that failure to adhere to these standards constitutes offences punishable under the Ghanaian law, Brace.
And yes, if you look through it, they are seeking some reliefs and sanctions, right?
Yes, Brace. So they are seeking quite a number of reliefs, about 5 of them in all. But I'll walk you through the major one. It says that, one, for the OSP to commence a full investigation into the origin of the funds used to procure the over 300 pickup vehicles and to finance related political activities. Also conduct a comprehensive audit, which includes undertaking a forensic audit to determine the exact cost of purchasing the over 300 pickup vehicles, including all related expenditure, financing arrangements, and payment channels. Also required Dr. Bawumia to make a full and sworn declaration of the total amount expended on the said purchase and to explain with verifiable evidence the lawful sources of the funds. And also for the OSP to publish the audit findings in line with the transparency mandate of the Office of the Special Prosecutor and the disclosure obligations under the Political Parties Act. Also, audit all fundraising activities led by or managed by Dr. Bawumia to determine compliance with the Political Parties Act and related statutes. Also determine whether public or illicit funds were used. And then finally, seeking for the OSP to publish its findings to promote transparency and public accountability. So these are the 5 major reliefs sought by the 3 petitioners to the OSP, Brace.
Grateful to you, Papa Ni Ashale. This Stop Story brought to you by Telecel Connecting Energies and also by Shield Pension Trust into the future with you. We've been joined on the line by Solomon Osu. He is spokesperson for Movement for Change and one of the petitioners on this particular matter that they're drawing the OSP's attention to Solomon. I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Now, I mean, why is it so important that the OSP goes into this? Is it the assumption that there's no way the vice president could have afforded these through legal means or legitimate means?
Thank you very much for having me. I mean, as public officers, we are enjoying to be transparent to the people of this country. So when we heard the vice president make the claim that he donated 300 plus pickups, which we know to be in the region of, if we were to take the base of 300 as $80 million, because we know Navarra's cost is averaging $60,000 per pickup. So if it is 300, we are dealing with a minimum of $80 million. And you and I know the salary of a vice president, and so we became alarmed, hence petitioning the appropriate institution to go into the matters.
Well, we've had a body like the CDD say that you require at least $200 million to be able to prosecute a presidential agenda in this country. Is $18 million that's outside the bracket? That is something we need to look into.
So, like I started by saying, we know the vice president's salary. There are laws that regulate political parties, the Political Parties Act of 2005-74. You also know that foreigners are not supposed to partake in fundraising activities of our country. So all that we are saying is that the vice president, the former vice president, who willingly told us that he single-handedly, emphasis mine, donated this amount, it's incumbent upon him to go to the OSP and then explain to him how he came by the 300 pickups. That shouldn't be my problem. That should be his problem.
Okay. But I mean, there are other people who have made similar comment as to their funding political parties. Why him alone? Or his is a bit different?
Kojo, have you heard any political actor openly come out to say he has donated 300 pickups?
Can't readily recall, but I've heard people
say
they
so
funded
then we
parties.
don't have to. You see, my brother, don't let us veer into other areas. Here is a former vice president who, under no pressure, he was not being questioned by journalists, he was not being interviewed by anybody. He willingly gave us this information. We have been complaining in this country that we do not know donors to our political activities. Now the vice president comes out to say he donated 300 plus pickups to a campaign. And as a citizen of this country, mind you, I'm not saying he's guilty. I have not pronounced him guilty. I am only saying that he should go and explain how he managed to buy the 300 pickups. I think you should rather be concerned as a Ghanaian.
I'm concerned, but also intent is one thing that we need to establish as well, not so.
Which intent?
Yeah, that's why I'm asking the questions I am, so that we
I'm
all
a
are
Ghanaian
on the same level.
that I am interested in people safeguarding my tax revenue.
Okay.
So this must concern you, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
You have been speaking about corruption, about the way people dissipate our public funds. Someone comes in to make a definitive statement, and not less a person than the former vice president. And so, if I petition, you must be concerned as to how you will follow and make sure. And let me say that I am going to follow together with all the petitioners this petition to the letter.
Okay.
So that we establish the veracity of his claims.
So the OSP has received this petition, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's stamped.
Okay.
We took it to the OSP at exactly 11:35 this morning. And it was well received.
Okay. Do stay with me. Let me bring in the Dr. Bawumia Camp, because we've been joined in the studio by the Director of Communications of the Dr. Bawumia campaign team, Miracles Abuaji. Miracles, I'm grateful to you for joining. Now, this is a petition questioning the source of funding of your boss. I mean, 300 pickups is just, that's a lot of money. That's why they are worried. How does your camp react to this?
Well, Kojo, I believe the petition was submitted to the OSP. We haven't seen it yet. When we eventually receive it, we'll look into it and understand what the issues are. and then I'm sure the OSP will have its processes, and I'm sure Dr. Bawumia will respond accordingly.
The basic point is about what was the source of funding. 18 million, per his analysis there.
I'm sure that's why he's submitted a petition, isn't that the case?
Yes.
So that will be dealt with.
No, but you are with the team. You should be able to tell us how you funded that.
I'm saying that how does politicians and political parties fund their activities? I was MC in Equiapem North. Whilst I was MC in Equiapem North, if I'm going to run for any political activity, there are several ways. We raise funds. Individuals contribute towards it. Even in my constituency, Equiapem North, when the party is going into an election, I go to my constituency and make donations. When I'm going to make the donations, I come to friends, I come to families, I come to acquaintances, and I mobilize resources. That's one of the key requirements of a politician worth its salt. So, like you said, sometimes the intent is also very important. Because if the intent is not otherwise, I don't think it's a big deal. But legitimately so, like you said, he says he is interested in knowing how a politician and a vice president is able to mobilize such resources. I'm sure once the OSP does what he has to do, Dr. Bawumia would clearly deal with it. But I don't think it's something that is such a big deal. It is one of the easiest things for a politician worth its salt to be able to do, to mobilize resources. But
those mobilizations are governed by laws.
Yes.
Which, of course, he pointed out that foreign nationals are not supposed to be contributing.
Yes, why? Is it only foreign?
So you need
is
to
it only foreign?
How you were able to raise those monies.
Exactly, and that's the point. So that's the whole essence, isn't it?
Yes.
So that will be done.
But Ghanaians are listening to you.
No, but he didn't send a petition. He sent a petition to the OSP, isn't the case?
I've
given you an indication. Go online. If you go online right now and you Google, there's several instances, several times where during the campaign we raise funds. And these funds, some of them, in fact, some of the donations that were even made to the campaign were made public by the individuals and the groups and organizations who contributed. So for me, apart from the fact that every citizen has that right to be able to, put out such petitions, I don't think there's anything necessarily alarming in here. Raising 300 pickups, 500 pickups, I can do that. I can mobilize it from amongst my friends and acquaintances. It is something that a politician worth its salt should be able to do. We organize, fundraising. Now we have short codes that we use to raise funds. We have fundraising dinners. We open desk in campaign offices to raise funds for contributions from individuals, all the way from the polling station to the highest level. So I don't really see the extraordinary scenario in here, but like he rightly said, it is within his right as a citizen. He wants answers and he will be given the answers.
Okay, stay with me. Solomon, you had the director of comms for the campaign team there that they raise funds, and so these are issues that are within the domain of the presidential candidate to do.
So the beauty of it is that I did not petition the director of communication of the Bawumia campaign. I took the matter to the OSP, and the media must be very much interested in this matter. You have been speaking about corruption.
We're very much interested.
It shouldn't have been my fight, or the movement's fight, or Apia Dankwa's fight, or a Bo's fight, or Hobson's fight, or Nanaya's fight, or anybody. It should have been the fight of Joy FM. Immediately, Dr. Bawumia made that statement. But nevertheless, we have decided to play our role as patriotic citizens.
Okay.
And so he must go to the OSP. At this stage, nobody has, as it were, said that this one is guilty or not. But we believe that the OSP must go into the matter and make the findings public. It's not going to be business as usual. It's not going to be business as usual.
Will you do same for all candidates in the last election, including member of parliament aspirant?
As a matter of fact, there are a series of petitions that are going to follow. We see the system is not busy enough. We need to help this country to revive. We are dying slowly. People are being treated with impunity in this country. And so there are a series of petitions that are going to follow. Remember, Brian the Champion also said that he gave $1,500 to each constituency executive in the Eastern region. Remember, Kenneth Japan has been making a lot of noise. Now we understand the sales of Educhum has also arrived. A lot of things are in the pipeline. And then we, as a movement for change, that wants to change the dynamism in politics in this country, will lead this onslaught.
But Solomon, the question that people will be asking is, the names you mentioned put out some of these issues earlier, but you're taking on the vice. That's why people will be asking, why him first? Because some other people made their comment earlier on. For example, in 2019, presidential candidate of the NDC, John Mahama, handed over some 20 vehicles to the national chairman of the NDC to help enhance the operational capacity of the party's regional offices. Nissan pickup vehicles. So question is, why not then and now? Yeah.
Kojo, don't let us digress into areas that will not help this discourse. A former vice president goes to a campaign, make a bold statement, a petition on it. I believe that our discussions must be centered on it. You quoting me to 2019 about John Mahama receiving pickups. If you were in the know, why did he not petition? Then you would have done a great service to this country.
Oh, I'm asking you because you are petitioning against someone.
So I have petitioned.
That's what I'm asking.
That is current. If you know of John Mahama's own petition, that is why you are there.
Okay, anyway, now which part of the Political Parties Act, I'm looking for education, Political Parties Act allows such a petition and mandates the OSP to audit individual candidates instead of political parties?
You see, first of all, I have petitioned the OSP. I cannot be a petitioner and a judge in my own court. If I go to the relevant laws, it will still not make any sense to anybody. That is why I have sent the matter to the OSP. He's going to be the arbiter in this matter. If you ask me to quote the relevant laws, if I quote, what next? We are not going to try this whole petition on air. That is why I've gone to the appropriate authority. You began by asking me the intent. You began by asking me why him alone. You go on to say which relevant. No, do not let us go into that realm.
Well, but there's no expiry to crime, right?
Yeah. Hello?
Yeah, I'm saying that there's no expiry to crime.
So you can, the one that you have information, and you have detailed information about your mama, can you pass it on to me? Tomorrow I'll go to the OSP.
But I'm asking, which part of the OSP's law, or which law asks the OSP to audit political presidential candidate instead of political parties? I want to be educated on that.
You see, I have already told you. If the OSP is that mindful that there is no relevant provision in his laws to deal with this, he would amply say it and dismiss the matter. So we are not going to try the matter on air.
But
there are enough provisions that would deal with this. In fact, we stated a lot of it in our petition that you read.
No, but I want the exact provision that says that you have to investigate
or
audit individual candidate and not political parties. I want education, sir.
Is there?
I'm just looking for education. That's why I'm asking that. Which law says that investigate or audit presidential candidate and not the political parties as entities?
So here is the case. The former vice president, made a personal statement. Is that not the case? He did not say that the MPP donated 300 pickups. He said he single-handedly. You understand? The OSP's mandate is to be able to investigate corruption and corruption-related offenses, perceived ones. And I'm saying that the figures involved are beyond my human comprehension. So they should go into it. Is it too much?
But yeah, it's not. But you need to have grounds.
Are you not interested in the corruption?
I'm very, very much interested, and that's why we're having this conversation.
But if you are interested, the way man, as if you are not interested, you are thinking about intent, you are thinking about motive, you are thinking about which law. When I have gone to the appropriate authority.
The special prosecutor law that you quote, section 2C, that you wrote, says empowers the OSP to investigate and prosecute corruption and corruption-related offenses committed by public officers and politically exposed persons, including the abuse of office for personal or partisan benefit.
Yes.
Section 3 authorizes the OSP to act upon credible complaint or reasonable suspicion, both of which are present. So yours is that you have reasonable suspicion of the vice president action that possibly there could have been corruption here.
Absolutely.
Anyway, okay. Let me bring in Dennis Miracles about Dennis. So I mean, if you listen to his explanations there, he says this was a public officer, so he has to just answer to us how he was able to raise those monies, 18 million in the least, to purchase these vehicles.
I mean, you've asked all the relevant questions, and I don't know why he gets agitated when you're also asking questions related to the same law that he's supposedly standing on. Riz, like I said, he sent a petition. We'll deal with it when eventually we receive it. We don't even know because we haven't even seen anything. It might be true, it might not be true. I suppose that's Solomon from Movement for Change, isn't it?
Sure.
And like he said, he probably says he's not too busy. And so he's probably trying to get busy himself and get others also busy. I mean, these are his own words. Notwithstanding.
Have you ever presented auditor report?
No, I don't work for the party.
I mean the political party.
No, I'm saying that I'm not an administrator at the party's office.
But you're a member of the party.
No. That one, you can direct that one to the administrators. Be fair to the organization. But like you rightly said, I'm sure there are going to be a lot of petitions, based on this. I was just thinking through. I said, his own candidate, if he so much loves Ghana and he so much has the interest of Ghana at heart, like you said, the intent, I'm sure the first petition should be on his own candidate. How his candidate managed to afford running around this country as an ordinary minister.
He says you can also petition.
No, I'm just making a point. Yeah. So there are petitions coming. I'm sure other citizens are also hearing and probably taking inspiration from him. And so I'm very, very sure in the next few days, his candidate would also have to go to the OSP to explain how he was able to afford the fuel and the vehicles that he moved across this country with as a minister of state. Because looking at the salary that he earned as a minister, moving from just 2 regions could have dissipated all his funds. And all the vehicles that he branded, the posters, the T-shirts, I'm sure Solomon should also get busy to also try to at least explain to the Ghanaian people how he and his leader managed to. And I'm sure people are taking inspiration from him. As to the petition, I think it's just hot air. It's just hot air.
That your candidate was able to give 300 pickups.
Why? That's why I've explained to you that even me, if I want to get 300 pickups,
you can.
I can mobilize. Why? There's so many ways I can mobilize people and individuals. It depends on your worth. Okay. But we'll leave that to the substantive matter. Okay. But we take inspiration from him. I'm sure in about 2 or 3 days, Solomon will probably be on air explaining to you how he and his leader, as ordinary minister, managed to afford moving across the country with all the V8 and all the fuel to campaign. Okay.
Dennis, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Let me bring in Dr. Kwame Asante. Doc, I mean, this is the case that 300 pickups by a presidential candidate is something that he needs to answer. How do you see it? And how must the OSP proceed on this particular matter?
This question is actually for the lawyers. I have very little knowledge in them. Okay. Once they've submitted to OSP, let's, as Miracle said, let OSP act on it, and then we all will follow.
But this is welcoming, right? For citizens to get up and say, we want to know the source of your funding in purchasing A or B during your campaign.
Citizens have rights. So if you see an action of an individual or you see something and you think it's within your right, you want to pursue it, nobody will stop you. But you, at the end of the day, you'll be provided with answers.
And what's your expectation of this?
We all follow. We all follow.
Okay, all right. I'm grateful to you. Dr. Kwame Asante, Senior Lecturer, Political Science Department of the University of Ghana. Earlier, you heard Solomon Osu, spokesperson for the Movement for Change, one of the petitioners in this particular matter. This has been a tough story brought to you by Telecel, Connecting Energies, and also by Shield Pension Trust into the future with you. My name is Samuel Kojo. Thanks for doing the listening. Up next, it's Newsnight.
It's Telecel SME Month this September under the theme Connecting the Next Generation of Entrepreneurs. For our young emergent entrepreneurs, this month is loaded with major vibes tailored to your growth and ambitions. Sharpen your skills at the Telecel Business Runway and the AI Workshop, and connect with other change makers at our very first Telecel Red Mixer, an exclusive networking event. There's more. Unlock tailored products designed to match your unique business goals this Telecel SME Month. Your time is now to transform your genius into impact. Keep up with all the action by following Telecel on social media for updates, or visit our website www.telecel.com.gh/business.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining in my ears, bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. Me, I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, me down my dark with holy insecticide spray.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Ghana Kron Kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302 681582. This advert is FDA approved.
Announcing Ghana's first unlimited photocopier leasing. Yes, from just 983 Ghana cedis, you can lease a multifunctional photocopier and print unlimited. Yes, unlimited and free paper every month. Guess what? That's not all. Toners, repairs, and maintenance all are free. And oh, I'm not kidding at all. And we cover the whole country. Yes, the whole country. What are you waiting for? Just visit us at www.valexlease.com or call 0244 644048. I repeat, or call 0244 644048. Remember, terms and conditions apply. Valex Lease, affordable document management solutions.
No. You look so relaxed and cheerful these days. What's your secret?
No secret, Kofi. I just sorted out my retirement with Shield Pension Trust. You should talk to them.
Retirement? There's more time before pension.
Sure. The earlier you start, the better. And Shield Pension Trust makes this so easy for you. They've got amazing plans to choose from. I even signed up for the Shield Cedi Crow a Day personal pension scheme, which lets you save as little as 1 Ghana Cedi a day towards your retirement. Isn't that great?
1 cedi a day.
Exactly. And the best part is, I sign up automatically on the Dachia Promoting Plan, which guarantees me medical insurance when I go on retirement.
Hey, you've convinced me. I need to sign up now.
Kofi is making a move to secure his future and health insurance when he goes on retirement. What about you? Go to Shield Pension Trust or call us now on 050-915-0253 and we'll guide you through securing your pension tomorrow. Shield Pension Trust, into the future with you.
Hello, good evening and welcome to News 9. This bulletin is live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra. We're also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi and on over 30 affiliates across the country. Well, tonight, the former Chief Justice Getu Tokonu launches spirited legal battle, challenging her dismissal from office and contesting the president's authority to strip her of her role as Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. We will bring you details of this breaking story. Also coming up tonight, the Forestry Commission and the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Squad launched separate but coordinated raids in 2 forest reserves and 3 rivers in a dramatic multi-region assault on illegal miners, escalating the fight against Galamsey only days after mounting public pressure from CSOs against illegal mining.
Viseri Forest Reserve at Mankraso District, there was a major clampdown today. Similar ones running concurrently in Anya Futu Forest Reserve of Kawe District. Even in Takwa, task force purging in Ankobra, the Bonsa Rivers as well.
We have details as government reactivates the military to help in the renewed crackdown.
After each episode of clearance, the military is mounting a stationed surveillance across all the 44 forest reserves that have been affected by illegal mining so that the illegal miners do not.
We'll also hear from the Forestry Commission and the Ghana Coalition Against Illegal Mining. Also coming up tonight, intelligence-led operation by Narcotics and police leads to the arrest of 8 suspects, dealing a major blow to a drug network in Kintampo.
It's time for us to send the message out there that enforcement is also part of the work. And that is the main purpose of our operation this afternoon.
Coming up in business.
Bank of Ghana cuts policy rate by some significant margin to 21.5% as it moves to assure market of adequate dollars to support the Ghana cedi.
And in sports,
former Arsenal midfielder Thomas Partey, in his appearance at the Southwark Crown Court, denied raping 2 women and sexually assaulting a third.
And a bit later, brace yourselves to pay for goods and services with your Ghana card. That's according to the National Identification Authority as it moves to roll out the e-wallet system that allows holders to use the card for electronic transaction.
The e-passport has already been activated. The next one we want to do is the e-wallet. Now, once we activate the e-wallet, what it means is that you can put money on your Ghana card and use it to do transaction.
We got details as the NIA says it has cleared all backlogs of over 600,000 Ghana cards.
What I did was that in partnership with them, they gave us over 700,000 cards, which we used to print all the backlogs. The backlogs was over 640,000. We printed it for Greater Accra, Volta, Oti.
We got the latest of these and many other stories coming up in the next 1 hour. My name is Kenneth. Gyasi, remember you can be a part of the show by sending us a WhatsApp on 055 11 11 997. Details shortly. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. Let's begin with this breaking story tonight because the former Chief Justice, Getu Tokonu, has launched a spirited fight in court challenging her dismissal as a Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. In an application for judicial review, she's asking the court to declare that the president had no power to remove her without following the mandatory procedure in Article 146 of the Constitution. She's also seeking to have the presidential warrant of removal quashed, describing it as unlawful, null and void. Let's go on to the telephone lines right now and speak to our legal affairs correspondent, Kweku Asante, who is joining us with more on this particular breaking story. We try to connect with Kweku Asante to give us more details about this particular breaking story. But this is the news that's just coming in. It indicates that ousted Chief Justice Getu Tokonu has launched a fight in court. She's challenging her dismissal as a Chief Justice of the Supreme Court in an application for judicial review. She's asking the court to declare that the president had no power to remove her without following the mandatory procedure in Article 146 of the Constitution. And some of the things she's seeking is also to have the presidential warrant of removal quashed, describing it as unlawful, void, and now. Right, and let's go onto the telephone lines right now and speak to Kweku Asante, who is joining us with details. Kweku, what more can you tell us? We're still trying to connect with our correspondent Kweku Asante, who is joining us on Zoom right now. I want to believe we have Kweku Asante on the line right now. Kweku, if you can hear me, please give us more details about this breaking story.
Well, yes, Madam Gertrude Tokono, who has been removed as Chief Justice and also Justice of the Supreme Court, has now filed this matter of judicial review at the High Court. We must emphasize that Madam Gertrude Tokono, in this action that was filed today at 2:15 p.m., does not challenge her removal as Chief Justice. We do not know if she will do so later, but this particular action that has been filed challenges her removal as a Justice of the Supreme Court. Our audience may recall that in that warrant that was signed by President John Dramani Mahama that dismissed Madam Gertrude Tokono from office as Chief Justice, also dismissed her as a Justice of the Supreme Court. In fact, that is what the warrant said, that the President had removed her as both Chief Justice and Justice of the Supreme Court. In this action that Madam Gertrude Tokono has filed, she contends that the process for removing a Chief Justice is not the same as that of removing an ordinary Justice of the Supreme Court, and that in any case, the petitions that were filed against her, in fact, including that of Mr. Daniel Ofori, which succeeded in removing her as Chief Justice, did not ask for her removal as a Justice of the Supreme Court, and that in fact, it did ask for her removal as Chief Justice. And so her contention is that she could only, on the basis of those petitions and the process which was subsequently triggered, be removed as Chief Justice and not as a Justice of the Supreme Court as well. Let me read part of the relief she's seeking in this notice of judicial review application that she has filed. She says, a declaration that the President is devoid of power to remove a Justice of the Superior Court from office without recourse to the mandatory procedure set out in Article 146 of the Constitution. A declaration that a jurisdiction to hear a petition for the removal of a Justice of the Superior Court lies with a body properly constituted under Article 146(4) of the 1992 Constitution. A declaration that a warrant of removal executed by the President dated 1st September purportedly removing the Chief Justice, Madam Tokono, from the office as Chief Justice and office of a Justice of the Superior Court of Judicature is unlawful, null, void, and of no effect. An order of certiorari to bring into this honorable court for the purpose of being quashed and for the quashing of the warrant of removal dated September 1, 2025, referred to in paragraph C above, and to quash same has been in violation of the mandatory provisions regarding the removal of a Justice of the Supreme Court of Judicature. And so Kenneth, she goes on to depose affidavits and explain what in her view is the rightful process. And we should say that when you look at Article 146, it is literally divided into two, but it's titled Removal of a Justice of the Superior Court. Between 146(1) and up to 146(5), talks about removing an ordinary Justice of the Superior Court of Judicature. In that process, the petition will go to the Chief Justice, who will then make a prima facie determination and then set up a 5-member committee, and then consequently the committee recommends that Justice of the Superior Court, which
Do we still have Kweku?
Through the High Court, Court of Appeal, and Supreme Court ought to be removed. This has to do with the Chief Justice. Then the process goes to the President. The Chief Justice seems to have a different opinion about this, and that is why she has gone to the High Court for judicial review on this matter, Ken.
So, to be clear, Kweku, this one is to challenge her removal as a judge at the Supreme Court and not as the Chief Justice.
Yes, in the relief she's seeking, her view is that the President could not have used the same process. In fact, the petitions that came were for her removal as Chief Justice, and that all her responses and everything that she did was to the response having to do with the office of the Chief Justice. And so her view is that the process having to do with removing an ordinary judge of the Supreme Court or the Superior Court is not the same as that of removing the Chief Justice. And the President's warrant of removal must be suspended. And
We know that she's already gone to the ECOWAS court, calling her removal as Chief Justice illegal and calling for her reinstatement. Do we also have any indication that she might file a separate case at the Supreme Court challenging her removal as Chief Justice as well?
Well, that is not something that we do know for now. In fact, the matter you referred to having to do with the case at the ECOWAS court has still not been decided. In fact, the latest was that the Chief Justice had actually filed at the ECOWAS court insisting that the Attorney General of Ghana had filed out of time, and because of that, the matter should be actually be decided in her favor. The ECOWAS court is yet to decide on that. And she has also not given any indication as to whether she's going to challenge her removal as Chief Justice. But the case she has now filed at the High Court is for judicial review, and that the High Court should quash, by order of certiorari, the removal of herself as a Justice of the Supreme Court. She's specific on this one, and she has not yet challenged her removal as Chief Justice, Ken.
Thank you very much, Kweku Asante. He's our legal affairs correspondent there, bringing us up to speed with this particular breaking news. And of course, we will be updating our listeners as and when we get more details about this particular development. And let's talk about illegal mining now, because the battle lines against illegal mining were drawn as the Forestry Commission and the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Squad carried out a series of coordinated and separate raids. Well, the joint offensive swept through 2 forest reserves and 3 rivers across different regions, striking at the heart of Galamsey operations. The dramatic multi-region assault marks a sharp escalation in government's fight against the menace, coming just days after the civil society organizations intensified public pressure for stronger action to protect the country's lands and waterways. Let's get onto the telephone lines right now and speak to the spokesperson for the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Squad, Pakwesi Shandoff, who is joining us with the latest. Pakwesi, grateful for your time this evening. Let's begin with the areas that you targeted. Run us through.
As of now, there is, today in particular, there was 3 forceful deployments that was done by the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat. The first one operated along the Ankobra River with support from the Blue Water Guards, who provided local intelligence. And the second one had 2 officers and 50 troops, as well as some staff from the Forestry Guard, who went through the Nkaria Forest District in the Ashanti region. The third one also was led by 2 officers and 50 troops, and they also gathered local intelligence from the Blue Water Guards, and they specifically were targeting the Desiree Forest Reserve in the Bankasu Forest District in the Ahafo region. All of these 3 occurred simultaneously, and all of that is part of government's efforts to ensure that really the issue of illegal mining becomes a thing of the past.
And what happened to the individuals that you met at these sites? Have they been arrested, handed over to the police? And if they are, how many are they?
Right. So we would provide details on that hopefully very, very soon. But of course, there were some arrests that were effected. Principally, what normally has been the trend is that most of these illegal miners sense and flee the scene when they notice the arrival of the NIMO's team. But regardless, for today's operation, we would provide the details on the arrests that have been effected so far. But in terms of seizures and confiscations, I can confidently tell you that a lot of illegal mining equipment, vis-a-vis shamfans and water pumps and housing shelters were destroyed today. We'll provide the accurate figures when we audit what was done very soon, latest by tomorrow.
Pakwesi, if you say that the individuals that have been arrested, you cannot account for them and you'll be providing them very soon,
it's not a matter of not being able to account for them. It's not a matter of, I'm not saying we are not able to account for them. Of course, when you effect an arrest, you'll be able to account for them. I am saying that I'll provide the details at another forum, hopefully latest by tomorrow. Indeed, we'll communicate fully on the results of these 3 consecutive suits that were done today. So when that detail is provided, I'm sure you see the arrest, the persons involved. Of course, you would also be privy to the specific equipment that have been seized as of today.
How long is this exercise going to last?
So this particular exercise, as the Minister for Government Communication had indicated, is supposed to be a very lasting program in the sense that we have a total of 288 forest reserves across the country. 44 have been besieged and impacted. Right now, the approach of the ministry is to deploy uninterrupted surveillance, of course, through the military, that is NIMOS, to all of these 44 forest reserves. And so it will end as when we are overwhelmingly convinced that the threat has died down. But as of now, it is continuing unabated. There's not going to be any interruption whatsoever.
Okay, and where to from here? Where next are you moving tomorrow, probably?
The activities of NIMOS are intelligence-led. I don't think it is advisable to indicate their next location because, of course, what if the illegal miners head and then they advise themselves accordingly? Indeed, even without they knowing the coming of the NIMOS team, they always find a way to escape. So I think, Kenneth, I don't think we can agree it's not advisable to disclose the next move of NIMOS.
Okay, thank you very much. Pakwesi Shandoff there, bringing us an update on the raid today. He's the spokesperson for the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Squad. Well, let's still stay on the telephone lines and this time speak to the Deputy Forestry Commissioner, Elikem Kotoko. Thank you very much, Elikem, for your time this evening. You were also part of this intelligence-led operation that happened. But the police, we understand, were withdrawn from this fight as the president made us aware. I want to find out, were the forest guards also withdrawn as well in this fight?
Thank you and good evening to your listeners. Forestry Commission is actively involved in the exercise, and it is only the police who were withdrawn. But this is just aimed at ensuring that there is very well coordinated efforts towards the exercise, and especially because NIMOS was set up purposely in order to see to the execution of this mandate. It was just proposed that they constitute whatever needs to be done and work based on intelligence-led information.
You were also you were active on the ground. Can you confirm the number of persons that were arrested?
The exact numbers I cannot give out now, as it is a little too early. It's still an exercise that is in motion, and we would want to be, how do I put it, a bit discreet in some of the information we gave out. And this is going to be an ongoing exercise. That would be, it won't be just a stopgap measure or a temporary one. We need to make sure that we continue it and even station officers at some of these places that we believe that the environmental criminals get back to after we drive them away.
There have been growing concerns from CSOs, from all walks of life in Ghana for a state of emergency, a declaration of a state of emergency. Is this a sort of way to prove that we can fight this one without declaring a state of emergency, this renewed fight?
I'll be glad if I can use just 2 minutes to clarify this. Yes, the president made it clear that it hasn't gotten to where he needs to issue a state of emergency. That is because he feels all avenues have not been exhausted yet. Don't forget that the moment he took over office, he did announce that no new licenses be issued. That's the first step he took. Then also, now as we speak, the LI 2462 is being repealed. He also actually reintroduced what we call the R concept, which is the Responsible Community Mining and Skills Development Program. The program that our gallant 8 were going for its launch, where they unfortunately lost their lives. The NIMOS was also launched, as well as the Blue Water Guards and many other initiatives. The president even believes that we must engage more with our traditional authorities who are very well involved, not in the mining, but wherever any mining activity is going on, our traditional authorities are aware of the land because of our land tenure system. Those are the short-term measures. Medium, we need to look at extensive education. Political will and law enforcement is also another key thing. And the sector minister is equally very poised, just as the president has directed, for all actions to be taken. So subsequent days will even see more effort by NIMOS and other security agencies ensuring that we now confront these people head on. We can no longer be treating them with velvet gloves while they are posing a major threat to our existence.
Okay, thank you very much. Elekem Kotoko is the Deputy Forestry Commissioner there. Let's still stay on the telephone lines and speak to the convener of the Ghana Coalition Against Illegal Mining, Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe, whose organization has been piling pressure on government to end what they have described as an environmental genocide. Dr. Ashigbe, grateful for your time this evening. You've been listening in to the two gentlemen who were part of the operations today. Satisfied?
Well, thank you very much. The interesting thing to say is that the coalition is on a platform of NIMOS. And so at the beginning of this week, we've seen the activities that NIMOS has been having. And as the coalition said in its statement, NIMOS, we believe, is a good plan. It's a good action that is being taken. You saw my two colleagues struggle in telling you how many people have been arrested. We would wait to see the numbers. What we believe should happen is that It's Good Gold Board has given some money, some 5 million and some pickups to NIMOS. We still think that it is inadequate. As we said in our statement, NIMOS need to be resourced a lot more. The issue, and I think Elikem had mentioned it, the fact that the people, Elikem or Shando, one of them mentioned that by the time they gather the people, NIMOS' operations increasingly need to be a lot more intelligence-led so that we are able to arrest these people. And the interest should not be in these people. The interest should be how do we get these people to then link us up to the people who are their sponsors. So that's where the interest should be. The interest should be the gold these people have sold. Who have they sold it to? Because see, the thing now is that Gold Board is also doing a good job at making sure that they get all the gold. So we should be able to track the gold back into these people so that we arrest the kingpins. The thing to do is to be able to deal with the kingpins. These actions are good. A good question to ask also is that His Excellency mentioned it, and in our petition we asked for timelines on these milestones. So when are we going to start seeing that the areas that have been hit, a permanent structure of the military, the forest people, the police being permanently there so that these people don't return? Because the point they made, it's a very important point. Because currently they hit the places, the people escape, they burn the equipment. But these people have money, they have a lot of gold, they have a lot of money. So they are able to come back. But if we are able to position a team permanently there, then that becomes a deterrent. So all of this is good. But you see, in all of this, the issue about the state of emergency is still a critical part, because what it then adds to government is other things that needs to be done. The question we should be asking.
Dr. Ashigbe, I was coming there that despite all these things that NIMOS and other agencies say they're doing, are you still unrelenting on your demand for a declaration of a state of emergency still?
You see, the thing about it is that you have turbidity of water, which is currently at 32,000 MTUs. In all of these things that we're doing, effort is good, activity is good, but the most important thing is impact. What is the impact of what we are doing? When you have turbidity of water at the levels they are, you need to be worried. The good thing is that there's been a hit around the Bonta area, and the Bonta treatment plant is one of them that have been shut. I am hoping that they are looking at the entire Bonta so that where they take resource for, so that they are dealing with it. But again, you will want to look at what the impact is. So that your turbidity of water, what is happening to it? With 32,000 MTUs, you are not out of the woods yet. And so what are the other things that government needs to do that currently we are not unable to do that a state of emergency will be able to help us with? How is it that we are still struggling to get the fast-track courts to come in? How is it that, well, it's not how is that, I know the answer. The answer currently is that under Act 995, you will have to go to court and get prosecution before you would be able to do anything with the excavators that have been seized. Under a state of emergency, could you reverse that? So there are some of the things that a targeted state of emergency in a few places, and very, very targeted, that would help. And so I think that particular point is still important. And we will plead with His Excellency the President that the statement, which is a petition to him, we are waiting for that meeting with him, because when we wrote to him the first time, he has said to us that we should meet the Minister for Land. We had the Minister for Land. All these things that we had mentioned, we stated it, and we are sure that the Minister for Land has forwarded that to His Excellency the President. It is important that we do that meeting and be able to express some of these things to His Excellency, and so that we help him. And it's important that, again, that everybody knows that this thing that we do as a coalition, that you, the media, we've been at this since 2016, is for nothing. But just to solve the problem. And so the NIMOS operations are good. There's a bit more we can do to make it a bit more permanent, and that's very good.
Dr. Ashigbe, to be fair to NIMOS, the PRO mentioned that they are going to be unrelenting in this new fight or renewed fight. They will be there until they are sure that everything has gone down or things have settled. Is that not convincing enough?
Again, as I said, NIMOS is a creation that we have welcomed. The thing about NIMOS is the fact that you need some permanency in it. So some of the things that some of us will be monitoring is how permanent would, after they've hit a particular place, how permanent would they be in those particular places. Let's bear in mind, you see, this route we've gone before. When I hear some people, I've heard some people ask that, where was I when the former government was in power? Remember, when the former government was in power, when we got the BDT at 14,000 NCUs, and we all rallied round, including elements within the MDC and all of that. What did we see? We saw some operation, something that happened, and they went into the achievement area and all of that. And when they did, after a few minutes, they moved. So we want to make sure that NIMOS learns from what has happened in the past, and so that their operations is different. They are permanently situating in these particular places. You have a state of emergency around the water place, so that anybody who goes there, you are able to arrest. Okay. It is from the learning from the past, which is the reason why we say some of the things that we are saying. Okay. So that when all of these things are done, we actually are able to pull back from the precipice that we currently are in. And we have spot on. This is an existential threat. This is genocide, ecocide that is being perpetuated. So we all need, again, support the President. The invitation that the current Minister for Land has given to us, we all need to join that to ensure that this work is worked, and we are able to do that effectively.
Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe, glad you could join us tonight. He is the convener of the Coalition Against Galamsey, Ghana. Well, let's take you to the Bono region now, because in a significant blow to the narcotics trade in the Bono East region, an intelligence-led operation by the Narcotics Control Commission, NACOC, and the Ghana Police Service have led to the arrest of 8 suspects. The raid, which uncovered a substantial quantity of suspected illicit drugs, marks a decisive shift from public sensitization to forceful enforcement of anti-drug laws. Well, Regional Commissioner Portia Dumayako said the move is necessary to sanitize the system and curb the drug-fueled violence and crime devastating local youth. The following report has more.
Acting on precise intelligence, the joint NACOC and police team targeted 2 specific locations within the Kintampo municipality. Their smart search uncovered what is believed to be a substantial stash of narcotics. The suspects and the evidence were swiftly transported here to Tichiman for processing, marking a significant blow to the local drug trade. This isn't just a seizure. NACOC says it is a clear message that the era of warnings is over and the era of enforcement has begun.
It's time for us to send the message out there that Enforcement is also part of the work, and that is the main purpose of our operation this afternoon.
But the commissioner revealed a more insidious problem festering beneath the surface: the corruption of the very young, often by those they trust the most.
You can't send your child, go and buy cigarettes for me, go and buy alcohol. The child starts tasting some of these things, and then they hook on it. They go to the secondary schools, they see people doing it, and so they also start doing it because after all, their fathers and mothers are doing it at home.
NCO Wajia Wotomo, who led the operation, expressed shock at the conditions and the business of these hideouts and asked that steps are being taken to burn down a wooden structure that served as a den for these addicts. So what happens next? The suspects will be processed and arraigned before court. The substances will be sent to the lab for confirmatory testing. But the larger message from Narcotics is clear: the era of mere warnings is over. They are now on the offensive, targeting the suppliers to protect the vulnerable. A significant blow has been struck, but the war is far from over. Anna Sabit, Joy News, Techiman.
And George Riafe is here with the latest in business. But right after George brings us business, we'll continue with our breaking news story tonight, where the former Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono has launched a spirited legal battle challenging her dismissal from office and contesting the president's authority to strip her of her role as a justice of the Supreme Court. George, what do you have for us in business?
Well, we have something coming from the Bank of Ghana because it has cut the key lending rate to commercial banks by some significant margin to 21.5% as it moves to a sure market of adequate dollars to support the city. And total value of mobile money transactions hit 2.7 trillion Ghana cedis ending August this year. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials, scented tanks, and Pepsident Herbal and Charcoal.
Ah, Ma, have you received the delivery?
Sis, yeah, the rider's bay. Send in the Momo.
Okay, star 17.
Ah, Paco. Don't you use a smartphone? Use a Momo app, ne?
Huh? Abba app.
Hey, I want to say a millennium, say millennial. Inim. Oh, millennium for ya nyaze. Switch to the app. Oh, you're smart. And now you're secure.
Enter a world of possibilities with the Momo app. Pay your favorite merchant, pay utility bills, and borrow from our wide range of lending services. Move to the app side today. MTN.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kingdom Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first port of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office,
Takweje, Osu near the Osu Cemetery, Tema near Community 4, Takoradi opposite Vijay Mays Plaza, Cape Coast University Bookshop, Spintex Road near Absa Bank, Atomic Center Point Mall, Winneba University Campus, KNUST, the University Bookshop, and Santasi in Kumasi. You can also visit our shop online, www.kingdomstoreonline.com. Hurry while stock lasts. For further inquiries, contact us on 050-162-0810 or 0302-764-101. Email info@kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited, where quality and affordability is assured. Terms and conditions apply.
At Star Oil, we believe fuel is not just a commodity, it is a lifeline. Every cedi saved at the pump is a cedi that helps a mother send her child to school, a farmer transports food to the market, or a young entrepreneur deliver their first order. Our mission is to make fuel more accessible by offering consistently competitive prices, helping ease the financial burden on Ghanaian households. In a country where transportation costs can consume nearly a third of household income, this is not just business. It's a social responsibility. Star Oil, still quality and affordable fuels for all.
Are you clapping? Are you giving God the glory? Hallelujah! Every day you wake up shouting, my business is not moving. Customers are not coming. But look, my brother, my sister, who are you deceiving? Have you smiled today? Do you have the confidence to smile? Your face alone is chasing people away. Yeah! We all know that the problem is not a spiritual problem. The problem is a dental problem. She was saying, use Pepsident charcoal toothpaste to remove yellow. Somebody shout amen.
Craft your smile with Pepsident charcoal. It removes stains and whitens teeth. This advert is FDA approved.
Luckiest everywhere for everyone. Yeah.
This year is going to be sweet. I don't just feel it, I know it, because the Luckiest Season 3 is back.
And I'm about to show you how to grab your golden ticket. Just dial *712# and follow the prompts to purchase your ticket. Or go to theluckiestafrica.com, hit community tickets, and pick your lucky number.
Or let the system do its magic. Choose how much you want to spend from 1 to 5,000 Ghana cedis. You can even buy a ticket for someone else. Be someone's hero. Payment? Easy. Mobile money in Ghana or card if you're international.
One ticket can turn 1 CD into 500 times more. That's maths we love. Or your community go win 10 times more. So let's get lucky together because luck is everywhere.
Hey, dear Niham sir. And you stay soft concentrate fabric softener. I was such it move. You're sending this say, but you hear my tina oche. Nihian it's na oche. No, be a baby some demoni in us say. Dear Niham say. Use Stay Soft and it's now Nani boss to tap from cry. A fabric softener, a year near Caesar. Choose to Stay Soft. No who's so say no. FDID a dreading crowd to Yatu.
Every mosquito study run away.
This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana has cut its key lending rate to the commercial banks by some significant margin. The Bank of Ghana dropped the rate by 350 basis points to 21.5%. Speaking at a news conference in Accra, Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama noted that the action was also influenced by improved economic situation and inflation outlook being firmly under control.
So given the current state of macroeconomic conditions, the view of the committee was that inflation will continue to ease in the near term. And in the outlook, headline inflation is expected to drop to within the medium-term target of 8 plus or minus 2% by the end of the fourth quarter. However, the possible upward review of utility tariffs could exert some price pressures in the medium term. Notwithstanding this, maintenance of an appropriate monetary policy stance, strong sterilization efforts, ongoing fiscal consolidation, and adequate reserve buffers should sustain the disinflation process.
Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson is here. Meanwhile, the Bank of Ghana has also announced that it has reviewed the net open position limits for commercial banks by revising the single limit from 5% to between 0 to minus 10% effective October 1. According to the Bank of Ghana Governor, they should make available more dollars to the commercial banks. Later Development Associate Director at financial advisory firm Deloitte, Dennis Brown, says the cut in the monetary policy rate is in a right direction.
Whenever the CD depreciates, and as rapidly as it has over the last 1 month, it's just a matter of time before it tells in the headline inflation. So Bank of Ghana will be aware of that. And if you reduce further the monetary policy rate, what you are doing is rather making spending attractive and creating disinvestment, from those that have excess liquidity. If that is not strongly backed by supply of goods and services, then you have a situation where you have more money chasing fewer goods, and then kitchens demand pull inflation, which is really what the monetary policy rate fights.
Associate Director at financial advisory firm Deloitte, Dennis Brown. Now, the total value of mobile money transactions reached record levels, and in August this year, data released by the Bank of Ghana showed that it hit 2.7 trillion cedis for the first 8 months of this year. There is more in this report.
The 2.7 trillion cedis represents a significant leap in terms of what the Bank of Ghana recorded in the same period for last year. The data showed that the amount has been declining marginally since May this year to about 356 billion cedis. When it comes to the total amount of mobile money funds saved with commercial banks, the Bank of Ghana puts the amount at 196 billion cedis. The spike in the numbers, according to some industry persons, can be linked to more people using the mobile money platform now for payments in the country. Again, total number of registered mobile money accounts stood at 77.7 million. However, it appears only 25 million were active. In terms of employment, the mobile money platform has given jobs to more than 900,000 people as mobile money agents.
And that is a Business Desk report. Now, trade think tank and consumer protection group CATS International has described the intense competition among the oil marketing companies in terms of pricing as good for consumers. Fuel prices should have gone up from Tuesday. However, industry sources say competition is forcing a lot of the oil companies to defer the adjustment. The West African director of CATS International, however, says the development makes a strong case for a competition law to be passed to check any form of cartel in the industry.
So for us to have competition in the market, there must be multiple players. So we need to remove entry barriers to allow more firms to come and compete in the market. And that is how we can see competition in the market. Beyond that, we also need to ensure that the competition law comes in place to also guide against corporate conduct like fixing, abuse of dominance, cartels, and other things. Sometimes we may have multiple players, but yet they may form association cartels to just fix prices, just that consumers will not get the best out of the market forces.
Apia Kusi Adumako is the West African Director of CATS International. The government says it has made some significant progress on the establishment of a new national carrier for the country. Now taking its turn at the Government Accountability Series program today, Transport Minister Joseph Bukari says the established committee has come very far also with some proposals on this move.
His Excellency the President directed that we work to re-establish a national air carrier, and that I inaugurated a 10-member task force that is currently working. They have submitted an inception report and an interim report who focus on the financial modalities that will take to be able to re-establish a national airline. And they are also looking at other practices that should we re-establish that airline, what or how will it be operated such that government interference will be very minimal for it to function for the kind of aviation industry we want to feed in.
And that is the Transport Minister, Joseph Bukari there. So it looks like, as the phrase can be used, the plans are far advanced for us to have a new national carrier. And also some development of the Kumasi is a Prempeh that I started. The first airport as well, in terms of the expansion works and also the time that they will close, extended further so that you can even get there as late as 10 p.m. as well. Move to Kumasi, come back to Accra, and the expansion of the runway and even the Bolgatanga airport as well.
Okay.
So some interesting things the minister spoke about during that engagement there.
Those are remarkable feats only if they can materialize.
Yeah. Whether to be Ghana Airways again or Ghana International Airline.
Regardless, we still want a national carrier.
Or Obake Airlines.
Or Aquaba Airlines.
Okay.
George, thank you very much for bringing us the latest in business. Well, let's take you back to our breaking story. And if you just joined us, we've been telling you about the former Chief Justice Gettu Tukunu, who has launched spirited legal battle challenging her dismissal from office and contesting the president's authority to strip her of her role as Justice of the Supreme Court. Let's go onto the telephone lines right now and speak to Nia Ikweotu, who is a former Attorney General. We also have Godwin Eduji Tamaklo, who is the Director of Legal Affairs with the National Democratic Congress. Let me start with Nia Ikweotu. Grateful for your time this evening. Why now? Why has the former Chief Justice, what informed her decision to file these fresh processes at the High Court?
Why are you saying why not? When did the day happen? Was it not only on the 1st of September? Not today, as written in the processes we have seen. They have not even been correct with the full reasons as to what took place, except what we have all read and what you said you had accepted. So, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong if you want to set
the laws,
the law and the institution. Right. You did what you have. I think it's quite clear that we all know that some petitions were filed for the removal of herself as the Chief Justice. There was nothing about removal as a Supreme Court judge. And the processes for appointment and the processes for removal are not the same. So when the President, in issuing a warrant of removal, says that she has been removed as Chief Justice as well as a Supreme Court judge, is he not entitled to question the authority by which the President is acting? That is what she's doing.
She is indeed. Hold on for me. I'll come back to you. Let me bring in Godwin Eduji Tamaklo, Director of Legal Affairs at the NDC. Grateful for your time as well. Let me pick your initial reaction to this fresh process at the High Court.
Is this Evans?
This is Kenneth.
Oh, sorry, Kenneth. Good evening, and good evening to my learners in Ayukod. I think a certain level of desperation has set in. I've had the benefit of reading the 77-page processes that have been filed, and most of the matters raised are matters that have one way or the other been decided by the Superior Court of our land. And so this judicial review application appears to be an attempt to keep a matter that has been decided and concluded in the public domain.
Let me let Mr. Ikweo to respond to this. He says it's a desperation.
Before he comes in.
Okay.
I listened to the tail end of the submissions by my senior, Ikweo, and cleverly, if you read the process that have been found. Essentially, what the leadership now removed Chief Justice is saying is that, particularly with the A, in terms of the declaration, that a declaration that the President is devoid power to remove a justice of the Superior Court from office without recourse to the mandatory procedure set out in Article 146 of the Constitution. Even a reading of this Relief 1 clearly suggests a question of the powers of the President. An interpretative matter disguised as a judicial review application, cleverly. But immediately you begin to unwrap the disguise. The conclusion you come to is the fact that the Chief Justice, now removed, labors under a certain misconception that you can be removed as a Chief Justice but still remain as a Justice of the Superior Court. It is this misconception that is animating this whole process.
Okay, Mr. Tamaklo.
Thankfully, maybe just so I conclude on this. Thankfully, the Supreme Court of Ghana, in the seminal case of Ghana Bar Association versus the Attorney General, reported in the 1995-1996 Ghana Law Report. My Lord Gyasi expressed himself this way, and I'll just read.
Briefly, please.
Yes, without mincing words, the ultimate result that this action is intended to achieve for the plaintiff is the removal of the second defendant as Chief Justice of Ghana, and as a fallout, a judge of the Supreme Court. The substratum of the plaintiff's case, as we have stated earlier, is that the second defendant is not a man of high moral character and proven integrity to be the Chief Justice. If so facto, a judge of the Supreme Court.
Okay.
Since the qualifications are admittedly the same. So, if the second defendant is disqualified from occupying the post of Chief Justice on grounds of lack of integrity, I do not see how he can continue to be a judge of the Supreme Court. Unquote.
Mr. Tamaklo, let me bring in Mr. Ikwetu at this point. Mr. Ikwetu, Mr. Tamaklo has described this fresh process as desperation. Is that something you agree with?
See, me, I don't believe in this radio discussion where you bring somebody from one end, another from the other end. I don't believe in that kind of thing, especially in a live matter which is pending. Let me remind him that I was a member of the legal team, the Ghana Bar Association legal team, and we took that matter to court. It was based on Article 128, the qualifications of a member of the Superior Court. What should you be of high moral character and prove integrity before you can go there? It's got nothing to do with removal of a Superior Court judge or, for that matter, a Supreme Court judge. We did what we did deliberately by asking that his warrant should be given to be removed. And then we tried to run away from Article 146. So what the Supreme Court told us was that we cannot remove that person except by coming through the processes laid down in Article 146. So go and read it well. I was a member. We helped to draft all those things. So we were finding a way to have the chief justice at the time removed by hiding under 128. That is not of high moral character and prove integrity. It's got nothing to do with Article 146. Because there, if you read it, you should go and read it again. It is well stated that the procedures laid down in this article are the only procedures which shall be followed in the removal. So you have procedures for removal of a Supreme Court judge or a Superior Court judge, and the removal for procedures for the removal of a Chief Justice.
Okay.
They are not the same. You should stop confusing the public with what he's talking about.
Okay. Mr. Ikwe, thank you very much. That's former Attorney General. We also earlier had Godwin Eduji Tamaklo, who's the Director of Legal Affairs with the NDC. Now, you must brace yourself to pay for goods and services. That is according to the National Identification Authority, that says they are working to roll out an e-wallet system on the Ghana card. The move, according to Executive Secretary of the NIA, is in fulfillment of the full requirement of the card and also help generate revenue to wean off the authority from government financing. He spoke to my colleague, James Aviji.
Other revenue option, one major one we are looking at is the e-wallet. You know, the Ghana card has 3 profiles on it: the e-ID, the e-passport, and the e-wallet. The e-passport has already been activated. The next one we want to do is the e-wallet. Now, once we activate the e-wallet, what it means is that you can put money on your Ghana card and use it to do transaction. That is to pay for anything that you do. And we are hoping that that one will generate a huge sums of money for us, and charges from transactions and everything. If you have to even take, the other banks are taking huge sums of money, but since this one is coming, we are hoping to lower it down so that that's one good revenue model that we are looking at. We are also looking at the data statistics. You know, you've heard that Gold Board and others want to do tokenization. So we are also looking at that ones where we can come in on to help them.
So they adopt the Ghana card as the means of the transaction with their tokenization.
Exactly. So we are looking at that one too.
Right. We understand that Eduji Tamaklo, who is the Director of Legal Affairs with the NDC, wants to make a quick rebuttal. Mr. Tamaklo, please, you have 30 seconds. Go on.
Okay, so clearly, like my senior said, the GBA and Attorney General case, popularly called the Urban case, was a strategy by the GBA to remove the Chief Justice then. The Supreme Court then took steps to go through the elaborate process for the removal of the Chief Justice.
Okay.
And then conclude that the two are one and the same. I'm surprised that he's saying that it is not connected. Thank you.
Thank you, too. Now, a third-generation commercial users of Chaco at one of Accra's biggest eateries have shared a heartwarming story of their willingness to abandon Chaco and gully migrate liquefied petroleum gas, which is LPG. This is coming at a time where there are concerns over health and environmental concerns over the continuous use of Chaco and firewood for cooking. The following report has more.
2023 revealed in a research that firewood and charcoal contribute at least 39% of source of energy for cooking in Ghana. To find out more, I visit a chopper here in Accra to hear their story. I meet Narama and her sister Sandra, a third-generation owners of the popular heavy-do chopper.
49 years ago, we started with firewood. That's what we started with. And then we moved from firewood to charcoal. So when we moved to charcoal and then technology also came in and technology was growing, we moved from charcoal to gas.
So why did they switch back to charcoal?
We bought 2 bags of charcoal and we used it to cook. So after cooking, we realized that the cost of using the charcoal was a bit okay than the gas. So that was when we introduced the use of the gas and the charcoal at the same time. Yes.
It has emerged, however, that this is not only posing threat to the environment, but to the human health as well.
In Ghana, it is projected that unclean cooking methods claim about 17,000 lives annually.
For now, Nanama, on behalf of her sister, has pledged willingness to go back to operate fully on LPG regardless the cost, but on condition that government will revamp the cylinder recirculation model to make access more convenient.
If government should listen to our cry, why not? We would stop the use of charcoal due to the other health hazards it has on us. We'll stop using it and then we'll fall on the gas to produce our food.
And that's how we end News Night tonight. Thank you very much for being a part